What's up, y'all? Agent WD40 here, and I don't know why this came up on my YouTube wall, and honestly, I don't know why I'm still watching YouTube. But here is a story from Media's Touch or something. It's got to be leftist because the misinformation coming out of it is unreal, and I'm going to help you point it out if you guys ain't already seen this already. This little dude right here is such a beta. Places like this shouldn't even be permitted to be on the internet. And this channel right here has over 4 million subscribers. It's hard to believe there's 4 million dumbasses out there. Let's get into this story real quick because I can't even believe this is even allowed on the interwebs or TV for that matter. This is ridiculous.
So I have a question. Are we great yet?
And I think, frankly,
yes, we're getting better. Thank you for asking, Scottish dude or British dude, whatever the hell you are.
if I didn't win, I think the stock market would crash.
We're seeing dramatic, just free falls now.
Okay, now the stock market did go down to minus 650 today, but I've seen under the Obama administration 1,600. In the minus. How many times have we seen the stock market damn near crash under Biden? And, rough times people going through right now. But I want to look right here at retailers going down. Well, at this time of the year, after Christmas, after all the holidays, after Valentine's Day, physical retail stores don't do all that good. And I'm calling a lot of BS on this one right here. Target, the Target Corporation is down 115.65 points. Do you not think you leftists that are boycotting them stores like Target and Walmart, you guys are doing the boycotting, so that's going to take a little bit of effect. And honestly, down 115 points for Target when they're going to make it up by Friday or the weekend anyway. And not to mention, spring's just around the corner, so these numbers right now don't mean a lot of crap. But the one that made me laugh and giggle the hardest was Amazon.com is down 203.18. Now, see, I'm not buying that because when somebody tells me a retail store, the first thing I think is Amazon and eBay and places like that, everything online. There ain't a lot of people that still physically go to a retail store. Everybody, why go to a retail store and deal with the people of Walmart when you can just deal with yourself at home and wait for your stuff to get here? So I'm not buying that Amazon was down, and I don't buy that they lost a single penny. There are way too many people around the world that is buying stuff off of Amazon as you're hearing me talk to you right now. And Fox News, I'm telling you, Fox News is just as bad as CNN, MSNBC, and they're just up there with all the mainstream media, but you all feel the same way. That's why you listen to people like me, Joe Rogan, The Quartering, and everybody else, and Tim Pools, because ain't nobody believe any of this horse crap. This might be a little bit of a long video. I'm quite sure of it.
Some of this is early in the first quarter, but this is scary stuff. So
see, that's what he said, early in the first quarter. That don't mean jack until you're in the second quarter and third quarter. Then it means a lot in the fourth quarter because fourth quarter is your Christmas time. I just can't believe people are dumb enough to believe this crap that's on mainstream media or this little turd bucket right here that I'm circling around the clown's face. This dude is... I thought social media like YouTube and TikTok was supposed to do things about misinformation, and this whole video is just out of touch.
So great that even Fox News can't avoid telling the truth.
That's because Fox News is liberal. It's been a long time since Fox News has actually been on the right side of things. It's mainstream media. All mainstream media is liberal and full of shit. That nothing more, nothing less. Everybody knows this. So for that little monkey to come out here and say, "Oh, Fox News," well, no offense, homie, but Fox News is left-leaning now, and He's talking to your people, not my type of people.
Let's be clear. If Trump is imposing tariffs, we're ready. We are ready with $155 billion worth of tariffs.
Ooh, yay, 155 billion to our country. That's like $1 in most people's pockets, okay? And first off, I'm sorry, Canada, but we didn't buy enough from you. You could sit here and claim that we get all of our electricity and petroleum oil and everything from you. No, we don't. Most of our oil and stuff comes from Saudi Arabia. Most of our minerals come from China, Taiwan, and everywhere else. This is ridiculous. Canada, I like you as people, but your government and that Trudeau is a dumb son of a... Put the beep in there right now. That show boy is nothing but trouble. I mean, you're not a big enough country to make any effect on Americans or American people. That's just the facts. Period.
And we're ready with the first tranche of tariffs.
And the auto industry expects to feel the impact of President Trump's tariffs. Fox Business's Jeff Flock is in Glen Mills, Pennsylvania this morning with a first-hand look. Jeff.
Could be ground zero for the impact on the tariffs, Maria. This Dodge Ram truck, $80,000, instantly became $100,000.
I want to speak.
Now, first off, let's get things clear. The last time Dodge made a Ram was in its first generation. The second generation Dodge Ram was owned by Mercedes. That's why a lot of people want a second generation Dodge Ram right now, because that is a beautiful truck. Still had American parts on it. But you can't sit here and call any Ram pickup truck today a Dodge, because that is owned by Fiat or Stelios, or however you say that one car company. There hasn't been a Dodge Ram in a decade or better. Now, there are Rams out there, but they ain't Dodges, baby. Them are some foreign junk Rams, is what they are. A newer Ram it's a Ford. It's complete utter trash. The last actual Dodge Ram was actually made by Mercedes in the second generation of Ram. So you're not going to sit here and call a Dodge Ram today. There's no such thing as a Dodge Ram in the new cars.
First, directly to the American people. We don't want this.
No, you don't, because you know your country is about to go under, because you don't supply enough to the world to make yourself effective. You don't even have enough people to even make an army, and that's what's ridiculous. I mean, honestly, in my opinion, I don't know why the U.S. doesn't land grab Canada and make it our own. And I'm not buying into the whole story of the fentanyl deal. That's all Mexican cartel crap. I don't know why Trump's going after Canada either. Maybe because he can't stand, like most of us, can't stand this Trudeau dude, because he is just a bloody moron.
We want to work with you as a friend and ally. And we don't want to see you hurt either.
We're not going to be hurting. We have a president that's actually going to do something. And while you all are complaining about what President Trump is doing today, you're not seeing the bigger effect of what tomorrow, the next week, a month, or a year from now is going to be. And y'all just mad over there in other countries because Trump is putting America and Americans up front and in first place. Because we ain't had that satisfaction in a long, long time. And Trudeau, that sounds easy for you to say when your own people is suffering. You can cut our power off. You can cut the gas lines. You know, where I live in South Dakota, we have natural gas reserves that we ain't even tapped into. And I'm quite sure Texas and Oklahoma could help us with the rest. So if you think we need something from you, Canada, we don't. We never did. We never will. So your tariffs ain't going to affect us one bit. And y'all keep talking about a trade war. This trade war is needed to happen for a long time. There's been way too many higher-ups, even this Trudeau dude, that has pocketed a lot of money off Americans, American people, and his own people of Canada. This Trudeau, he's not a good man by any means. Because remember, when it all comes down to it, he is still the number one thing that people despise and can't stand. A politician. There's no such thing as a politician who ever tells the truth. Period. Never has, never will be.
But your government has chosen to do this to you.
Well, you're part of NATO, my guy, oh Trudeau, and you ain't been paying your part. But you expect us as Americans that if you guys was to ever go to war, you want us Americans to fight on your side because we're allies. But keep bumping your gums, Trudeau. We ain't going to be there for you. You're going to have to rely on the Germans, people over in Europe. And you ain't going to like that because remember where the real money's at. Here in America. There ain't a lot of money in Britain. There ain't a lot of money in Germany. So that leaves you with China, Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia really don't care either way. They could give a flippin' fly's butt about anybody but themselves. Because that's the way the Saudis are. So where you going to get your help? Because keep bumping your gums, you won't get it from us. We're going to start treating you like Ukraine.
Trump fulfilled one of his promises, actually. No, not combating inflation.
Oh, this little freaking idiot. The man's only been in office, what, almost 2 months? Maybe? Has he even been in there a month? You know, a president can't do everything on himself, and he damn sure can't solve the world's problems in 4 weeks. These little leftist people, man, they need to shut down. Shut themselves down before making a video. These people are ignorant.
Happen very quickly.
No, not ending the war in Ukraine.
Do you see any future in which Ukraine...
Well, yeah, there ain't going to be an end to the war with Ukraine when you got one side that's ready to do peace talks, Russia, and then you got the other side that started the war to begin with, Ukraine. And why do I say that Ukraine started the war? Because Crimea was never theirs to begin with. There was a contract when the USSR, right before they became the actual state, or however you want to say it, country of Russia, they made an agreement that if Ukraine could not cover the funding and everything for Crimea, it was going to go back to Russia. Yeah, and we recently found this out, even though it's been known forever. But when you got one side that's ready for peace, and you got the other side that doesn't want peace, oh, Zelensky, you know, how do you defeat a war? You know, Trump's playing middleman here.
Returns to his pre-2014 borders?
Well, I think Pete said today that that's unlikely, right? It certainly would seem to be unlikely. They took a lot of land and they fought for that land and they lost a lot of soldiers. But it would just seem to me, and I'm not making an opinion on it, but I've read a lot on it, and a lot of people think that that's unlikely.
No, not bringing down the cost of living.
So when I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
But imposing senseless tariffs on Canada, Mexico.
Okay, Jack, let's talk for a second here. The prices were already going through the roof from the previous administration. It takes time for things to go back down. We've seen this all happen before. Anybody who's lived through the Obama administration knows this to be true. Anybody who's ever lived through the Reagan administration and then got into the Bill Clinton administration knows this to be true too. It's like this little douche right here. He's reading off a script, and that irritates me about YouTubers. You got something to say it. Stop reading your teleprompter. from something that somebody else wrote. It's ridiculous. Either make your videos real or get the hell up off the net. Seriously though.
Mexico and China, with the result being, well, just see for yourself.
50% of the spending. That has masked a lot of pain out there. And now...
Let's be honest here. We could do without a lot of China stuff. Because half the times when you order stuff from China off of Amazon, you don't even know if that product's even going to make it through shipping, let alone the first time you use it. How many of you techie people out there are like me that you've bought something and then you've had to modify it just to get it to turn on and work? And let's talk about Canada here. In Canada, you don't have anything we want. You have minerals and stuff, but we can get that crap from somewhere else. You know, you're not the only country with crude oil and petroleum and all this other crap. Yeah, I did a little studying on you, Canada, today. You don't offer the world a lot. You ought to be thankful for what you got, and you probably should bow down to the rules, or it's going to be your people that suffer, not us. In Mexico, who cares? I say this about the people of Mexico all the time. They can't build a house. They damn sure cannot make a roof without it blowing off, the shingles falling off. It doesn't take Mexicans to build things. We do it better to begin with. And let's be honest here. Let's look at Mexico. That is a third world country. People come on the internet and TikTok and say how great the immigrants from Mexico are. You know, if they were that great, then why hasn't Mexico developed their own country and their own land? Because they're not that great at building crap. And the rest of y'all are just mad because you're trying to get, free labor on pennies for the dollar. That's what you're really upset about. Because remember who the first real builders in America was. The George Washingtons. Them Freemasons. Them's your true builders. Even though they came from over in England and places like that. But that's your true builders. Them were geniuses. To sit there and say that people from Mexico were the heart of the United States, it just simply isn't true. It just is not true. Not even for a second. And people should stop believing the lies and admit to themselves what the truth really is. And take the blindfold off. Take it off for a whole 5 minutes. And see through all the smoke and the mirrors and all the crap that you've been lied to about. And what you lie about on a constant daily basis. That kind of makes you look dumb.
A lot of those economic numbers. Look at the GDP now. Thursday, it was we were looking at first quarter, 2.3%. Friday, it was a negative 1.5%. Yesterday, it was negative 2.8%.
Well, let's be real. Let's look at Microsoft, okay? Let's look at another stock here. Microsoft's fallen off because they can't make a computer or a device that anybody would possibly buy, let alone would you pay $2,000 for a frickin' tablet that you barely use but maybe once a month at best? Microsoft can't make a good product because, how do you make a laptop and then it have integrated graphics on it? Because you're being cheap, Microsoft. You're not giving the people what they want. You're giving yourselves what you want. So Microsoft is going to go down too. Then don't even get me started on Windows 11 or any of the insider builds that they've created. Complete dumpster fires. And then Microsoft owns a lot of gaming studios, but here we are, we're going on 2 or 3 years now, and we ain't had very, very many good games. I literally play Borderlands, all the BioShocks, and all the Far Cries. But I look every day for a game that might be decent to play or maybe to stream with. But you know what? I ain't found one in 2 years. That's why Microsoft's numbers are down. And then let's talk about Apple. There ain't nobody that wants that crap. Supposedly, 2/3 of the world owns an Apple product, but yet you don't see nobody ever having one. And the people that get one for the first time end up smashing it because it's so useless. And Apple's another one. Runs completely off Linux. And the gaming's not that good off Linux. Apple is overpriced, old hardware. Every time they come out with a phone every year, the phone is technically 3 years old. People have woke up to that. Nobody wants this crap no more. And then let's talk about Google and Alphabet. YouTube is sliding downhill because they're one-sided, just like TikTok is. Hardly anybody uses Google anymore. And the only thing that Alphabet's got going for them, or Google, is they have Android that runs phones. You know, and that's it. Literally, that's it. They haven't made a device that they've actually followed through on. So Alphabet gets what they want. Next is Amazon. We already talked about that. Next one is Meta. It's Facebook. Unless you are 85 to 110 years old, you probably ain't using Facebook or Instagram or any of that crap from 20 years ago. They're all dead platforms. But it's amazing how these are the people that on the mainstream media news that they specialize in the market. But you have to question, why are you even here if you don't even know what's going on with the companies? You're taking an estimated guess? Why? We're supposed to believe you because you're black or something? Come on, get fucking real.
That's not all trade. That we're seeing dramatic, just free falls. Now, some of this is early in the first quarter, but this is scary stuff. So there's a lot more going on, a lot more substantial things going on besides tariffs. Because listen, this is soft data; they haven't hit yet. Sure. Right. So the economic data that's moving the markets are in place and moving in the wrong.
Okay, let's look at these. Caterpillar. Well, you know, not a lot of people use cats anymore. Make good motors, though, when they work. And Ford, I am surprised Ford is even still on the stock market, because you got to be pretty insane or really like working on cars to buy a Ford. And you might want to hike your dress up a little when you get out your ride, too, for that matter. And look at Boeing. Boeing's only down because anybody remember the last time they had an aircraft that actually worked? Simple things here that nobody ever looks at. But you have people's like this cornball that we're looking at right here acting like everything's bad. Stock market always falls this time of the year. It ain't nothing any different. Just because Trump's in there, that means something?
Wrong direction.
That's right. Today we are entering into a new global trade war that every economist predicted would
We need that trade war. Period.
happen months before Trump even took office, only for Fox News to act shocked, like they hadn't platformed Trump's tariff plan without any pushback.
Oh, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram.
Yeah.
Stop calling Jeep a Dodge. See that word right here? Stellantis? That's who owns Jeep. It's not a Dodge product. That's why when you buy a new Dodge or a Ram, notice there is no, the word Dodge is completely off that truck. Just like the Jeep. There is nothing that says Dodge on that no more. Why is that? Because it's not owned by Dodge. It's owned by Stellantis. And the Silverado, let's be honest, the Silverado is only doing bad sales right now because it looks like a freaking Ford. And Ford trucks are ugly as hell. They don't run. See, the problem with car manufacturers is all these car makers, they make all the cars look the same. And people are tired of that. And of course, I've stated in my other videos, stop buying new cars. They're not worth it. They just are not worth the price or the headache you have to go through when there are so many kick-ass, good-looking used cars out there on the market for not even a quarter of the price. But in most people's minds, oh, I got to have a new truck every year or a new car. No, you don't. You always stick with the ride that never lets you down. But no, most people will go out and trade in that trusty vehicle to get a brand new, what's equivalent of a turd or a lemon. Now let's look at the Ford Bronco Sport. The Broncos had nothing but issues. Nothing but issues. From the transmission all the way up into the dash. And let's be honest there. Again, it's a Ford product. Unless you're buying it for your wife, there ain't no real man driving a Ford of any kind. You're kind of a beta male driving a Ford. Then if that makes some of y'all pissed off, that's your issue, not mine.
Packed. Dramatic. I sold order for a customer, $80,000 truck. It's $100,000 now, so he's not going to buy the truck. It's going to sit on my lot at the higher interest rates we're paying right now for floor plan.
Okay, let's be honest here. Depending on where you live is how much that car is going to be. Now, I went with a friend car shopping or truck shopping this last summer, however you want to look at it. I was looking at new Dodges, new Fords, and new Chevys that were over $140,000, and I couldn't even find a Dodge, Chevy, or a Ram, or a Ford that was under $129K. And, car salesmen, they're a lot like politicians. You're never going to get the truth out of them anyway, like ever, because like politicians, car salesmen are only about themselves and not the people.
And nobody's going to buy the truck because it just had a $20,000 price increase.
Right.
Well, nobody was going to buy the truck anyways because nobody in their right damn mind pays $125,000 to $160,000 for a truck that they only drive to the grocery store to begin with.
Kelly Blue Book will put the number up. They say the average vehicle will go up by about $3,000. Does it sound right to you?
No. We don't have the broad stroke. We don't have the linear, the tight strokes. But to me, it's a 25% tariff. So that affects our parts that come from over these countries.
Yeah, see, that's the problem. Our parts that were supposedly American cars, which we already know that the only true American car, which kind of disgusts me at the same time, the only true American car as of right now is the Tesla. And we don't know for sure half them parts are even made in America, to be honest with you.
And a whole bunch of our cars.
And you've been basing your business model on free trade, basically. This is what the American Automakers Policy Council says, Maria, in response to this. They say our American automakers invested billions in the U.S. to meet the requirements of the current free trade agreement.
But at the same time, how many times did the American people bail out these car companies? I know of, in my lifetime, 8 different times. Dodge, Ford, and Chevy. So, I mean, where are we going with this? All this crap is misinformation. What happened to news journalism? Where before you took on a story, you went out and did the research. Or if you're Army people, you know what I mean by this. Went out and did some recon. You know what I mean? It's like they give you your opinion. They give you their opinion. But it's not really an opinion if you didn't take the time to research it. I don't get mainstream media news and all the fear-mongering. Why does the government and the mainstream media think that the best way to come at us American people is keep us in fear? And I think we proved that during this past election, a lot of us never had fear to begin with, and we're tired of the crap. Now, is the country going to suffer a little bit from tariffs? Probably so. But you mark my words right now, a year from now, or maybe a lot sooner, we're going to be in a lot better position around the world than what we currently are right now. And we are better off right now than we was last year or the past 8 years.
They shouldn't have their competitiveness undermined by tariffs that'll raise the cost of building vehicles in the U.S. and stymie investment in the American workforce while competitors from the outside of North America benefit.
Well, then we don't have to worry about buying new cars. If everybody just goes and buys used cars. No, everybody's got a friend that's got a car for sale. All you have to do is put in a little wrench work or pay a good mechanic, assuming there's a shop anymore that's actually a decent mechanic that works there, or is trustworthy for that matter. But a little bit of TLC on an older car, and you can spend a life with that car. Buy a new car, the only thing you're going to end up doing is probably leasing it, because you ain't going to be able to afford that $160K to pay for it.
German, there's no tariff on the German cars.
No, they're
Japanese.
They're going to be okay, but think about it. We built our business around that. The OEMs built their business around that, and now it changes on a dime.
You know what? Let me ask you this, okay?
Yes.
How many Dodge Rams do you see driving around Europe?
Well, probably none, because they ain't made a real Dodge Ram since the third generation of Dodge Ram. So, dumbass female, there's no such thing as a Dodge Ram. And here's another thing. Do you know how big an American truck is, you retard? I mean, you're stupid, woman. You're just dumb. You are not going to drive a full-size Dodge Ram, as you claim a Dodge Ram. You're not going to drive a full-size Stellantis Ram down the streets of London. Our American cars have always been called land yachts. There's a reason for it. We have bigger roads. We have a lot more space in our country to drive our big cars. So let's get the facts straight, you little tart of a female.
Okay. How many Dodge Rams do you see driving around India?
Well, I'll tell you what I do see. I see a lot of terrorists driving Toyotas. But you hardly ever see a Dodge Ram, do you? That means more to me than what this little hypocrite idiot female here has to say. And I don't know who she is, but she needs to go too. I mean, she's a complete moron. Anybody still calling a Ram a Dodge? You should probably cut off ties with them, because they ain't smart enough to probably walk and talk and breathe at the same time. And that's just the damn truth.
I mean, not many, I bet. Why? Because they don't buy our cars. And that's what President...
Oh, no, you wrong. You wrong there, honey. Any mechanic or anybody who loves cars knows about a show called Top Gear. UK Top Gear. Not that crappy US one that they pawned off on us. But you go ask the Brits. They love, super love our American cars. I'd love for you to walk up to Richard Hammond and say that the Ford Mustang is a piece of crap. Or that the Dodge Ram was junk. How many people over there in Europe sure do I see lots of videos every day up on YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, BitChute. There's a lot of Europeans with American cars. They will trade in their Ferrari for a Pontiac Fiero, okay? Yeah, watch the videos, you'll see. When it comes to Europe, they love our cars. You know why? Because when you need a V8, you go to the Americans for a V8 engine. And this woman, she's just too stupid. You know, again, no research. She's just bumping her gums.
Trump is trying to change. Maybe Dodge should start building them here and selling them here.
Because there's no such thing as a Dodge. It is a Stellantis. That is a European country, or a European car maker. They also own Fiat. And if anybody knows anything about a Fiat, shit, you'll be lucky if that car stays running for more than 3 minutes, honestly.
Don't worry, they have a great tip on how to avoid the cost of soaring egg prices.
Well, I have chickens in my backyard. Sean started that.
Yes.
And yesterday I went out, they just started laying. And yesterday I got 5 eggs. I guess my question, if you could make it just really quick because I'm out of time, is part of the solution more small farms?
I shouldn't be laughing, but who's writing these segments?
What, he's laughing? This little prick is laughing because this news anchor woman went out and bought chickens to have eggs to cut down on prices? You're laughing about that? You're a freaking beta, dude. You call yourself a man? Look in the mirror. You need to put a dress on, boy.
Good. Well, as expected, the US stock continued to plummet on Tuesday morning after China and Canada announced.
Now, after a little research, I looked at the Dow numbers from previous years. Because, you know, we have records of that. It's called the internet. You got the Wayback Machine. Every year around this time, from the end of, well, let's call it the end of January until about April, the stock market always goes down. I don't care who the president is, Democrat or Republican. They always go down. See, here in America, we have people that like to save money. So they have a little bit of extra funds for springtime to go wash their car or, you know, put a fresh paint a coat or coat of paint on the old house or build a new deck. And they're not going to retail stores to try to blow their money on useless crap. This happens every year. There is no sense of blowing this crap out of proportion at any time when it happens every year.
New retaliatory measures. And as a result, US investors continued a sell-off that had started on Monday after Trump announced that there was, quote, no room left for negotiation with Mexico or Canada. The Dow fell 1.8% or more than 770 points. And also highlight this message from Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau, who made it abundantly clear who is actually at fault for the current state of affairs. And I'll give you a wee hint. He's the same guy boasting about breaking records as the very ticker in the corner does fact-checking for me.
We are.
And why does this little Scottish beta male here, why is he so concerned about what us Americans are doing? You're neither American, Canadian, you're European. Well, you're not European. You're Scottish, dude. I know you're Scottish because who else in the world says, we bit scared? I mean, come on now. So, here's what I say to you, little Scottish guy. Mind your own business. Worry about your own little country from getting taken over from Britons. I mean, honestly. Worry about that one island that you just burnt down because you're afraid of anthrax is going to get you caught up. And all that bio-warfare that you did on that testing on them islands out there. Why don't you worry about cleaning that crap up before you come over on America's porch and think you're going to come over here and make us clean up ours?
Are setting records right now. Records like nobody has ever seen before. When you have companies like this coming in.
I want to speak first directly to the American people.
Dude, don't talk to us directly because we stopped caring about what you said a long time ago. Look what you've already done to your people in your country. You think we could give a rat's clacker what you have to say? Dude, go back to the beauty salon. Go back to modeling, doing something that you might be good at. Because a politician, you ain't very good or skilled at.
We don't want this. We want to work with you as a friend and ally. And we don't want to see you hurt either. But your government has chosen to do this to you.
No, he ain't done nothing to us. You're just mad because Trump now treats you the same way he treats Zelensky. It's a long time coming, pretty boy. And Trump's just a man. He's like the rest of us. We no longer give an F. What you think, what you say. The only thing that's going to hurt us is when we start sending food and dropping it with a parachute over your country because we feel bad because you wasn't smart enough and you wasn't brave enough to stand up for your own people. Trudeau, you're going to end up screwing your own people. You don't see it yet, but it's coming.
As of this morning, markets are down, and inflation is set to rise dramatically all across your country.
Oh, please. We've been in inflation since the Obama era. We're used to it. How many of you Gen Xers out there have lived through, I don't know, 6 of these already? How many of y'all Gen Xers already stopped counting? Holy crap. When did it ever end for us? It started with Obama, and it hasn't ended. Somebody needs to speak the truth there, because I sure ain't finding it in this hypocritical, leftist type network. I can't believe anybody would believe this crap. It stuns me. Stunning.
Your government has chosen to put American jobs at risk at the thousands of workplaces that succeed because of materials from Canada or because of consumers in Canada.
Now, okay, let's talk about that for a second. During the Biden administration, Biden allowed all these Chinese companies to come in and buy all of our steel works, the steel manufacturers. You know, the car companies rely on that steel. And most of them now are owned by China. I think there might be 1 or 2 American steel companies. You know, had Trump been in there 4 years ago, them wouldn't have gone nowhere. We'd have plenty of steel, plenty of aluminium, plenty of everything. But the past administration said different. And look what it's got us. There ain't much left as far as the steel companies. And then you guys want to talk, you Canadians want to talk about energy. You know, wind generators are good things. They just wasn't implemented right. Like that one con artist from Omaha. He owns a power company. And the government, Obama, gave him, I don't know, 300 windmills. You'd go out and look at them wind farms. One of them turbines would be spinning while the other 299 were laying there dead doing nothing. The easy way to implement that is one wind generator can power 300 homes. Why wasn't generators put around small towns and stuff? Problem is all governments around the world, they only think about themselves, not the people.
Or both. They've chosen to raise costs for American consumers on everyday essential items like groceries and gas, on
No, you leftists did that with the previous administration. The same type of administration, Trudeau, you currently run. So if it didn't work out for us as Americans, what do you think your people are saying about you? Because you're running your country just like Biden did. You're burning it to the ground.
Major purchases like cars and homes and everything in between. They've chosen to harm American national security, impeding access to the abundant critical minerals, energy, building materials, and fertilizers that we have and that the United States needs to grow and prosper.
No. Again, we're Americans. We're resourceful. We have great scientists, honestly. So, a lot of these minerals we can recreate in labs. So, dude, you're not working with much here. Like Trump told Zelensky, you ain't got the cards in the playing deck. You might be holding a box, but you ain't got nothing inside of it. You may have a joker in there, though. Then you might be the joker. For real.
They've chosen to launch a trade war that will, first and foremost, harm American families. They've chosen to...
No, our past administration already did that for us, dude. If you think your country's going to have any effect on us, dude, you got to be out your mind. My God, if we can live through 4 years of what Biden's done and Harris has done and the Democrats have done in the past 4 years, you don't think that us Americans won't soldier up? because we've had plenty of practice. Dude, your country, no offense, but most of your people live right across the border of the United States. Because, what, 90% of your land just isn't useful at all? Because it's too dang cold? Dude, you ain't got the cards. You should agree with Trump and the American government. Because 10 years from now, you might not even be called Canada anymore. You may not even be on the map. So it'd be easy what you say there, Trudeau.
Sabotage their own agenda that was supposed to usher in a new golden age for the United States.
Yep. And you better get on board, son, because the golden age is coming. You best believe it. Things will get better. They always do. But Trudeau, if you're going to keep going against the country that's just below you on a map, you better think about how quick we can pull security away from you, and who knows what country would come right after you. You need our security because you ain't got an army and you ain't got enough citizens in your country to even make an army that isn't laughable.
And they've chosen to undermine the incredible work we've done together to tackle the scourge that is fentanyl.
Well, not really. You put up Border Patrol. I see them videos all the time. But you really ain't done nothing. Have you put in any money to try to stop Mexico from bringing in the fentanyl? I bet you didn't, did you? But I know who did. The American people and the American government. So, Trudeau, you need to stop taking credit for something that you didn't even know about until recently. This dude's an idiot, for real.
A drug that must be wiped from the face of the earth. So on that point, let me be crystal clear. There is absolutely no justification or need whatsoever for these tariffs today.
I mean, ever since Trump took office and promised to impose these tariffs, there have been numerous economic indicators showing both deterioration in the state of the economy and consumer trust in his handling of it. I mean, yesterday, the Atlanta Fed's economic tracker continued to worsen, and it now indicates that first quarter GDP is on pace to shrink by 2.8% after showing 1.5% contraction on Friday and growth of 2.3% on February 19.
We're going to look at it, presidents, at this point.
Okay, watch CNN right here, because I just watched a news story about this on from CNN that showed Trump up 3 points. Now they're showing 1 in this one, and this is the problem with mainstream media. There's nothing but fear-mongering and lies. You call yourself a news journalist today? That's an embarrassment. And this is why nobody watches these mainstream media anymore. Because it's nothing but lies. Nothing but lies. No truth to it whatsoever.
In their presidency, right? And the word here that I would use to describe Trump is awful. In fact, the only person who does worse than Trump does right now with a +1 net approval rating is himself.
Except for the numbers I saw today that Biden was -22. But why does CNN not say that? He was -22, and that was before our last election here. His numbers was what, -48 or something like that? So where does this uppity little prick get off saying that Trump is worse than his own numbers? When he's not. Period. He's up. 1 point plus is a lot better than being -48 like Biden was throughout his whole term. This is just ridiculous how quick the news, the mainstream media forgets about the same stories that they talked about no longer than 2 or 3 years ago, but now they act like the history was never written. Man, I can't stand mainstream media. This is why nobody watches it anymore. It's irritating with the fear-mongering and the freaking lies. It just is.
back in 2017 when he was at -8. So he's doing better than he was.
I was going to say, you could spin it another way. He's making gains.
He's making gains, but he's doing worse than everybody else. The average president at this point, get this, plus 27 points on their net approval rating.
And remember what I said, the average president, Biden was down minus 44, 48. And the average president was plus 27. I beg to differ. What about Obama? Boy, his second term, them numbers dropped low, didn't they? How about Bush Jr.? Boy, them numbers dropped pretty low. Or how about President Bill Clinton? Boy, them numbers really dropped after that Monica Lewinsky thing now, didn't it? See, this is mainstream media is just full of lies and misinformation. And y'all need to be aware of it if you ain't already.
Donald Trump is doing historically awful. The only person he beats is, again, himself from term number 1.
Well, here's what happens, right? While most of us pay attention to the drastic repercussions about to take place, Trump and his MAGA minions are out here trying to sway the narrative.
And see what I mean, MAGA minions. Who still uses the word MAGA in 2025? The election is over. It's only the leftists that have this infatuation with MAGA people. And maybe it's because the left desperately wants to be a MAGA. But they know they won't be accepted. I don't know what their deal is, but nobody calls themselves MAGA anymore. The election's over. And just like the election being over, you leftists need to get over it too. There's no such thing as a MAGA anymore. That shit went down in a history book, and we've turned the page. It's the same thing you leftists and you little beta males from Scotland, I guess, I should look at.
Biden-era policies agreed upon under the Chips and Science Act as a means to justify a trade war that...
Yeah, the same administration, by the way, that a plane crashed here a couple of years ago because our American government had a chance to buy a chip, CPU of some kind, and our American government said, nah, we're not interested. So these chip makers, they flew in a plane, and there was like 8 of them, went over to some other country. The plane ends up disappearing or crashing. But nobody saw that as odd. You know, I guess only us people that saw the signs knew something was funny there. See, news stories people forget about because most people have a brain equivalent of a fish. News media and this little white turd here on the right, yeah, he definitely, you can tell he's never had a brain once in his life, and I doubt his family did either.
Has already seen the market tank.
Today, Taiwan Semiconductor is announcing that they will be investing at least $100 billion in new capital in the United States over the next short period of time to build state-of-the-art semiconductor manufacturing facilities. I think mostly it's going to be in Arizona, which is what I understand, which is a great state. I like it because I won it, but I won most of them actually. But we won it, and we won it big.
And Canadian premiers opt to drastically cut power to customers in New York, Minnesota, and Michigan.
It doesn't matter, honestly. You can cut them off. You really can. We'll just run underground wires to the places. I don't know what effect you can have. I know a lot of people in Minnesota who's got solar panels and wind generators anyway. Like I said, Canada, there's nothing you're going to do to the American people that we won't have fixed in about a week ourselves, with or without a government. To sit here and think that you're going to cut power off up to us, give it a break. Get the hell on.
Of contracts that we have with the U.S. We are the largest purchaser of alcohol in the world. We buy over 3,600 products from 35 states. I talked to the governor of Kentucky and Mitch McConnell.
Oh, no, you mean America's going to have an abundance of fresh food and all kinds of alcohol? Oh, my God. You know, when we have too much of something, it goes down in price, like a buy one, get one free. Oh my God, that's going to hurt us Americans so bad that we're going to have an abundance of a bunch of products. And we're going to have so much food that we all can start getting obese again. Oh my God, Canada, please don't do that to us. Please don't. I'm scared.
Don't touch our bourbon. I'm going after absolutely everything. And I don't want to. We keep the lights on to 1.5 million homes in manufacturing.
Small dime in the bucket, buddy. 1.5 million. We can reroute power to them people lickety split. Give us a couple of days. We'll have wires everywhere. Please.
In New York, in Michigan, and in Minnesota. If he wants to destroy our economy and our families, I will shut down the electricity going down to the U.S. And I'm telling you, we will do it. It's unfortunate. I would rather ship you more electricity, ship you more critical minerals. I want to ship you more energy, more potash to keep your farmers going, and uranium that you use for your nuclear power. It comes through from Saskatchewan over to Ontario.
Honestly, nuclear power is on its way out the door. And plutonium, we really don't need that anymore because our world's never going to see a real nuke go off because that's such old technology. We have better stuff now. And we're Americans. We're awful crafty. A lot of people can survive. There ain't nothing you're going to do to us, Canada, that's even going to make us flinch. So y'all can just stop that. You're going to end up hurting your own people. So you need to step into the game, get your piece up on the puzzle, stick it in the right place, or your puzzle's never going to get solved and never be complete.
And it's going to be a massive, massive problem. I'm telling you, we love the Canadians love Americans. I love the U.S. Everyone does. And not one American friend. When I lived there for 20 years, I've talked to all of them. Hardcore Republicans are saying this is the biggest mistake President Trump has done, and we're dead against it.
Okay, that's retarded in itself. I hate it when leftist people say that. I talk to my hardcore Republican MAGA friends and they think it's a mistake. No, because a hardcore MAGA person, as you call them, they don't have friends like you. Because why have friends like you that all you're going to do is get mad because you don't agree with their opinion? So I'm calling BS on this politician again. My God, Canada, you need to step up as people and take care of your government because it's going to be you guys that suffer. Remember, Canada, you ain't got a big population, baby. You better tell your government to slow its roll and cool it before it's too late.
Yet to find one supports me.
With all that, I ask once more, are we great yet?
We don't have to be great yet. We're only a month in it. What the hell you think's going to happen in 30, 45 days? My God, Trump's still got to clean up all the mess from the Biden administration and a lot of it from the Obama administration. I mean, let's get real. There are bigger fish to fry right now than the crap that they're talking about. Canada, just stop. You're not going to do anything to us. Nothing's going to have a consequence. It is just like Mexico. Mexico might make a few car parts, but outside of that, a lot of us know how to rebuild our own car parts anyway, so we really don't need your crap, to be honest with you. In Mexico, you're a third world country. You are. Outside a couple of resorts in Cancun, nobody even knows why you even exist. I'm going to be frank and honest here. This is Agent WD-40, man, and I got to go get something to eat because the meat that these leftists are cooking are way spoiled. Like always, baby, I'm out this beer.